Good morning, all. As it is now 9:30, we are going to call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Barnett, Commissioner Baxter, Commissioner Bernard, Vice Mayor Marino,
Here.
Mayor Sachs,
Here.
Commissioner Weiss,
Here.
Commissioner Woodward.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. The invocation and the pledge, please. Mr. Pelowitz.
Dear God, as we gather here today, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community. Keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence, let us continue to strive to make a better world. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any additions, deletions, or modifications?
There are not.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from February 14th, 2024?
Moved.
I have a first by Commissioner Weiss, a second by Commissioner Woodward. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Motion carries. Now, may I also have a motion to approve the minutes of the Citizens Advisory Committee and the Small Business Advisory Committee?
Second.
I have a first and a second by Mayor and Commissioner. Thank you. And now on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to, first off, is there anything in the consent agenda anyone would like to pull? No? Okay, may I have a motion and a second for the...
Commissioner?
Yes.
I believe you have a card on 5C.
There we go.
Yes, Alexandria Larson.
Oh, and you need to approve the agenda as well. Motion to...
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just had a question. Is the microphone on?
Is the green light on?
I don't see any green. There we go. Did I do it? There we go. I want to make sure you can hear me. I know how lovely my voice is. With all the things that are going on in our world, and it's been a long time since I've been here. The last time I was here, I was just here, so we got 2 pickups every week. Came out of their coffin for that. But this is, our recycling is going to Deerfield Beach. It says construction debris, and that's very heavy, just as an observation. And we're taking it to Deerfield. Is there no way to do it here in our own county instead of taking it on a long journey to Deerfield? It's just something, making it something available in the future for less transportation costs, less, because we always talk about less. Everybody's saying they're going to cost us less, but I'm not seeing that in the budget right now. But I was just curious if somebody is here at the authority is looking into a way to take care of it. And thanks very much.
Would you like me to respond?
Sure.
Sure. There are construction demolition debris recycling facilities in Palm Beach County. A long time ago, in the early 90s, the siting of these facilities became problematic in the county. There are facilities that are located immediately to the south of the border in Palm Beach County, down in Deerfield Beach, that handle construction demolition debris. So a decision was made a long time ago, and it continues today, to allow construction demolition debris to leave the county to be recycled. They have to recycle a minimum of 50% of it. And so it's there as a supplement to the capacity we have in Palm Beach County. They're on 1-year agreements. They're renewed every year, and we continue to ensure when they go out of the county, they're required to be in full compliance with all the environmental laws in Broward County in this case. So it's something we've been doing a long time, and the short answer is we don't have enough capacity for construction demolition debris recycling in Palm Beach County, and we haven't had it for 30 years. So, but we're certainly available if someone wants to open a facility and it can be properly zoned and located. We welcome anyone to open one.
Thank you, Mr. Pelowitz.
Can I ask?
No, please sit down.
All right, I'll ask it during matters by the public.
Thank you. We had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now we have matters by the public. You can continue.
You want to, for the record,
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Bernard is here.
Oh, sorry, Commissioner Bernard. Nice to see you. Snuck in. Let the record reflect that Commissioner Bernard has joined us. Thank you.
Okay, for matters by the public, we have Alexandria Larson and Drew Martin.
Okay, commissioners, I think it's egregious when you shut somebody down. All I had was another question, and that wasn't going to bother anybody because it was pointed out to me years ago that we got $14 million selling our recycling material to China. You were not sitting on the board at the time, okay? But that's what we were doing. I didn't want to recycle another thing after that ever because I didn't want to give anything to China. But anyway, I was here today because of last month's meeting. We were talking about the incinerator. I can tell you a bunch of people, including myself, knew not to build the incinerator. We knew it was a new source of pollution in our county. When they were doing the backup, you were not sitting at the board, but they didn't need it for 8 years. There's a whole bunch of history. I hope maybe someday you'll let me give you a history lesson because I'm really good at history. It's stuck in my head. Because we fought the incinerator. We didn't want the incinerator. We didn't want to compromise on it. And yet last month, your minutes reflected that the EPA wants to make it come up to standards that are human. Because when we were sold the incinerator, that thing, I was going to say a word and roses, because it was described as the cleanest, the best, the biggest, the whatever. And here we are, we're at a crossroads in our lives that we need to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our lives. This is our charter. There's only one paragraph in here with the citizens. That's it, to protect the health, safety, and welfare of us. And I've always been a big proponent of that. Clean air, clean water. I'm not anybody, but I care. And this is something that could have been avoided because it does need to be cleaned up. They said the filters were wonderful. We were sold a bill of goods, and here it is. It's coming to knock at the door. Just a few years later, commissioners, and like I said, you were not sitting on the board at the time, but it wasn't something that should have happened ever. I'm tired of that part. I'm tired of coming downtown, and I'm tired of being scolded when I speak. We shouldn't be scolded. I didn't participate in matters by the public a lot of times, but I try to be nice and not egregious. But yesterday it felt like an attack on anybody who spoke to the public. You know, if you come up and speak to you. I don't think we should go through that. And if you're going to attack people, at least let them have a rebuttal. It was sad when I read the minutes because the EPA, it's coming up to and including going to jail if you're polluting our earth. It's in your minutes from the 14th. And I laughed because when I see some things that happen in our county, I do see malfeasance, I do see collusion, and I do see a lot of stuff. That's my interpretation, and I always say that, my personal interpretation. And when I talk about the public, it is we. We're under siege right now with pollution and so many issues that we really need to look into, and it has fallen into your lap. And I understand that. But hopefully, as falling into your lap, instead of saying no, EPA, give them some ideas. That's all. Thanks very much, commissioners. But please don't shut down the public.
Our next card.
Mr. Martin, go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So nice to get up early and see all these bright, smiling faces. I'm here on behalf of the Sierra Club, and we opposed the waste energy plan. I was actually on the advisory board. I was the only person who voted against it. I guess they removed me from the board after I voted against it. But I didn't support the waste energy. And I read here in the comments from the Citizens Advisory Committee meeting, upon request and in response to an article in the Palm Beach Post, Mr. Pelowitz detailed the problematic issues associated with the Environmental Protection Agency's proposed new emission limits for large municipal solid waste combustors. And it indicates to me from that statement that you're out of compliance and that you're going to have a problem with this. Now, we said all along this was going to be a problem. And I listened to a show many years ago with Diane Reams on NPR, and she did a show on this plant here, the new plant. And, this plant was sold to Palm Beach County as, the best technology. And, the question I've always had is, because they had a gentleman on from the EPA, a retired gentleman on the EPA on that show. And Reveal, another NPR show, did another on Palm Beach County. And they both indicated that this plant produces a lot of pollution. And it's not all being captured. Now, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know the answer. But if I have to trust on one side the manufacturer of this plant, and on the other side, scientists from the EPA, I'm going to trust them first. So if they tell me there's a problem, I think there is a problem. And what we're trying to do is reduce the amount of waste that's being burned in the world today. And it's a real problem because we have too much single-use plastic. Now, we attempted to get the county commission, excuse me, to do something about single-use plastic, which you didn't want to do. For instance, you said, well, it might affect the airport. Well, when I go to San Francisco Airport, they don't have single-use plastic. I think that climate change, you cannot solve the problem with climate change if you don't reduce the amount of garbage that we produce. And that's a lot of garbage. And I'm reading a book right now on garbage, and there's a lot of things that get produced. Palm Beach County does not insist that stores recycle cardboard. A lot of that's being burned. That's not good for the planet. When you're burning something that could be recycled, that's not good. I commend the things that are recycled. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Item 7 is public hearing and workshop, and I believe we have none of those. So we'll go on to old business. And actually, I did have a question on some old business. And did any other commissioners have any questions? Can you update us on the Lantana expansion?
The Lantana expansion. Patrick, have you got anything to update the board on that?
No, there's really nothing has been done since the last meeting.
Okay,
Still in the planning stages.
thank you. And on the EPA request?
Sure. As you're aware, I did a lengthy presentation last time. I also did one for the CAC recently. In response to the EPA's proposed rule changes, we did submit a comment letter to EPA on the deadline. I believe I forwarded a copy to all of your offices. We have not received a response yet, other than an acknowledgement that they received it. There were also letters sent by other entities who we are affiliated with, including the Waste Energy Association and the organization, I can never remember their name, that includes the National Conference of Mayors, the United States Conference of Mayors, and the National League of Cities and National Association of Counties, all did. And there was also a letter submitted by, I believe, 17 attorneys general to EPA, citing some of the very same issues that we raised with it. So as of right now, there's nothing really to update. We're waiting. EPA has how many days to respond?
90 days.
Has 90 days to respond to the comments. I'm still trying to, and I'm going to remind Ramona to get a hold of Joe Kilsheimer, because we need to get a letter to our delegation, the whole delegation, to bring them up to speed on that. We did have meetings, Ray Shower in our office with some other folks, with the staffs of several of the representatives, including Representative Moskowitz, Representative Mast, and a couple others, I believe. So we do need to reach out more on that. But again, we're keeping our eye on it. We'll see where it goes. Again, the Solid Waste Authority wholly supports real, meaningful emissions limits for these facilities that protect public health. It's
Thank
not
you.
a question of that. Thank you.
All right, so we're on to 9A, which is new business, and 9A is the Executive Director Employee Handbook. Mr. Polowitz.
I'm going to change glasses. So, the Solid Waste Authority Employee Handbook is basically our. It includes all of our codes of conduct and all of the descriptions of what is expected of employees, how they're paid, how benefits are administered, all of that. This handbook has not been updated since 2014. So there have been some some changes in law over the years. A lot of this really is more along the lines of internally fixing confusion as to what something really means. So a lot of it's just cleanup. There's nothing real significant in here. I mean, if you have any questions about any particular changes, I'd be happy to entertain them. I can just go through a couple of them here that I think are important. Item 7.2, this is a clarification regarding prior criminal acts in that we don't consider prior criminal acts in the initial stages of the interview process, only after the fact. If there is an issue with the criminal background, the HR director brings that to me, and I make the final decision as to whether we move forward or not. So that's just trying to give everybody a chance. We've got I've increased the tuition reimbursement amounts from what they were, about 50% to $2,700 per year for undergraduate and $3,700 for graduate. Ours were a little low. I think these are still below the counties. If you'd like me to match the counties, I can do that, but these are a little below the counties. We don't spend a lot on this. It's $10,000 to $15,000 a year. 3 or 4 employees maybe take advantage of it. I'd like to see more do it, but 3 or 4 employees take advantage of it. And then some of the other, just all the way in the back, just bringing us up to date. We added a section on social media, section 39, just making employees aware that the things they say on social media can be harmful to other people, that they shouldn't be critical of other employees or residents or the community in social media because it can reflect negatively on the authority, and that only those people who are authorized to speak on behalf of the authority on social media should be doing so. So other than that, I think it's important. The one thing I have put in here in the recommendation is to allow the executive director to change things that don't affect cost or budget, just so that if there's a change in law or something that comes out that's minor, it's a minor clarification. I will always, of course, if it's significant, bring it to you. The last major update was for paid parental leave, and that was approved by the board. And then the other was when we added the Juneteenth holiday, which was also approved by the board. So,
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss, your light is on.
Thank you, Chair. I would be supportive of increasing the amount of college tuition reimbursement or whatever secondary. I was a beneficiary of an employer who offered that program and helped me fund postgraduate work that I did. And, I think giving people an opportunity to move up that's probably not the right word, but to expand their opportunities, I think is a great thing and would help potentially retain employees. But if they get better educated and move on, so be it. The county and the world is in a better place as well. So
would you like to make a motion that they match what the county does?
I would make that motion, Madam
Do I have
Chair.
a second? Second. We got lots of seconds on that one. All in favor? Thank you. The motion carries. I have no more lights on. So, thank you very much, Mr. Pelowitz.
you're very welcome.
And so next is legal. Do we have anything?
No new business.
Okay. I see nothing for operation, field service, and utilities. So item 9, wow, that's loud. 9D is customer information services, replacement of customer service and tax assessment software.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Board. We're here today seeking authorization for staff to establish a project in the Fund 406 Renewal and Replacement Fund for the Catalyst Project. We're seeking authorization for the Executive Director to execute an agreement with Catalyst through a cooperative purchase agreement for the replacement of the customer service and tax assessment software, subject to legal sufficiency approval by General Counsel. We're also seeking authorization for staff to initiate the project utilizing funds from another fiscal year 24 project and direct staff to budget this project in full in fiscal year 25 and reimburse the fiscal year 24 project. In summary, the authority currently uses outdated software for customer service and tax assessments, lacking modern features such as workflow, mobile application, and web access. Staff researched alternatives and found that Catalyst to be the best match, intending to procure it through a piggyback contract. The estimated cost for the implementation and support is $342,000, with ongoing yearly support costs of $160,000 to be budgeted annually. Funds will be reallocated from other projects in the 2024 budget to initiate the transition, with formal budgeting planned for 2025 to replenish the funds. I'm here if you have any questions.
I see no lights on. So I do have one question. In this year's budget, what are we budgeting for software?
So there's a phone project that they're putting on hold that they're going to borrow the funds from to initiate the project, and then next year we'll back pay those funds to replenish those funds.
Okay, thank you. There you go. Commissioner Weiss,
Thank you,
our
Chair.
IT guy.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and make a motion to approve this improvement.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item 9E is engineering and construction. I see nothing.
No items today, thank you.
Okay. Item 9F, planning and environmental. I don't see anything, and not on F. Oh, we have a card. Drew Martin?
Drew Martin on behalf of the Loxahatchee Group of Sierra Club. I thought since I got up early and came all the way out here, I'd take advantage of having at least 2 opportunities to speak. I hope you enjoy hearing from the public. We certainly appreciate your willingness to listen to us. And I hope I try to be diplomatic in everything I say. So I hope I am. If I'm not, I apologize. I just want to talk a little bit about the recycling program, which I think they do a good job. I compliment Solid Waste Authority on their recycling program, but I'm disappointed that not everyone is participating. And there's still too much garbage generated. I'm reading a book right now on garbage, and it's really unfortunate. It's interesting when I drive down the street because I have very little garbage compared to a lot of neighbors, and that's because I recycle. And I also go out of my way not to generate garbage, and I also compost. So I guess a question, and I don't know if I'm allowed to get an answer, would be, I know you used to give out the composting containers, which I have a number in my yard because after the hurricane, when they blew around, I picked them up and I put any extra ones in my yard. So I do compost. It really helps reduce my garbage, and I think it's very beneficial. You can actually put a box of worms under your sink. I know people would say, wow, that sounds gross, but actually worms eat up a lot of stuff, and it produces a great mulch. And I actually went to a couple of county events on Earth Day where people actually sold the worms. And I don't know if the county, educates people on that. So it would be interesting to know about that education. The other thing is too many businesses are not recycling. And I think restaurants, and in San Francisco, and I like to use San Francisco, I grew up there. When you go to San Francisco, you have a tremendous amount of compost recycling, and it's reduced the amount of litter when you have better recycling. Of course, we have bottle bills and things that you don't have here in Florida. And it's too bad that we don't pay something for, items like that. I would like to hope at some point, I want to compliment the staff here. I see you're drinking out of reusable drink containers, and that's a great example. I really appreciate it when staff and elected officials use their containers. I appreciate the fact that we are seeing less styrofoam at county meetings. So I do appreciate that. But again, I think these are all things that could be part of the education process. I know you do a good job of education, so I don't know if that can be responded to. If possible, I would appreciate a response. If not, then at least I put it out there for the record. Thank you so much.
With public comment, we do not do question and answer. That's not what public comment is about, but I will ask Mr. Pelowitz to respond, but it does not mean that there now becomes a banter back and forth.
So you mentioned...
And Alex, that's actually what happened with you. It's not a banter back and forth. Okay, Mr. Pelowitz.
Yeah, so Mr. Martin mentioned the issue of the composting containers. There was a time in our history where we were providing backyard composting containers. At the time, I believe the board kind of didn't like the concept of it because we were competing with the private sector for providing compost containers. But we do wholly support backyard composting, and I'm very happy you're doing it and it's successful for you. On that regard, as far as recycling goes, I always like to point out we do have the highest recycling rate in the state, and it's going to be even higher this year, assuming it doesn't get changed too much by DEP by the time it gets finalized. So we're very proud. As a large county, it's tough to do, and we do appreciate all the recycling efforts of everybody out there. Encourage everyone to use their blue and yellow bins as much as possible. We can always do better. There's a lot of plastic that doesn't get recycled. We know that, but I can guarantee you in Palm Beach County, you put it in the bin, it gets recycled. And same with cardboard. Separate it, we have good markets for cardboard. We're all about the circular economy. We're all about trying to put as much back into commerce as possible, put as little in landfills as possible. Again, I appreciate your comments, and we're here to help as much as possible. And our education program really does focus on recycling, and we would like people to generate a lot less waste. We would. Unfortunately, that's a behavior modification that's hard for us to do. That has to be done really somewhere else. But we will look forward to people generating a lot less waste. Thanks.
Thank you. Mayor Sachs, your light is on.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Mr. Martin, we're always anxious to hear what Sierra Club has to propose. And I'd like to give a hats off to Mr. Pelowitz and his team on making this the #1 county when it comes to recycling. And I think that I'm not sure of our educational system, but I'm hoping that our schools are also teaching the kids how to recycle and what happens when they recycle, and especially with regard to composting. There was a sort of a bit of levity. There is a website, and she's called the Warm Lady. Warm Lady, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but she really promotes the idea of using natural ways to compost, and it works. And I think a lot of millennials today know that banana peels are very effective in composting, as well as coffee grinds. I've never tried it, but I guess your plants really grow if you put those, especially Italian espresso, by the way. It really pops those plants up. But either way,
Kimbo
really
is the
proud.
best brand on the market, by the way.
I'm very pleased with our county, very proud of our county, of how we're moving forward. And I don't have any little kids in school, but I can see somebody saying yes, that we do educate our children. And I hope that we're part of that, the SWA, and putting together maybe a booklet or something so the kids will know. Publix gives you a choice, plastic or paper, or as well as bringing your own reusable bags to Publix. So it's all a good thing, and I'm glad that you're in the forefront, Mr. Martin, with the Sierra Club, and I'm proud of our SWA and making this the #1 county in the state for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss, your light is on.
Thank you, and I want to thank Mr. Martin for his reminder and how important recycling is. And I know our family, we do our best to recycle as many of the materials as we can. More importantly, we also reuse as many as we can and don't even put them in the recycle bin. So I think that's an important lesson. And then we also we have backyard composting that we've been doing for many years as well, and I can attest to the fact it does reduce the amount of material that goes into the waste stream. So it's certainly options that are available to people, and I share your frustration sometimes at not seeing folks wanting to participate. I don't know, but that's probably both education, cultural. And sometimes just, folks, depending on where they grew up, not aware of the implications or, what the opportunities are. I think the other thing, and we've been working really hard on, I want to commend the Solid Waste Authority on, is the understanding about the lithium batteries and how dangerous those are and that they need to be handled properly, as well as the rest of the electronics waste that we put out, and the fact that we have these convenient drop-off facilities around the county so that folks can handle that hazardous waste safely, as well as their household paints, everything else. We make a trip usually a couple times a year, drop off those things, clean out the garage, get rid of containers that no longer are serving us, and do it in the right way. Don't put them in your garbage.
Thank you. I see no other lights on, so we'll move on to item 9G, Financial Management Services, Small Business Advisory Committee appointment.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. The subject here is the Small Business Advisory Committee, SBAC appointments. The committee is composed of 11 members, with each board member making one appointment for his or her district. The remaining 4 appointed at-large members, they are approved by the governing board. Presently, we have all 7 positions for the commissioners, and we have 2 positions filled for the at-large. This morning, we would recommend another person to be added. The staff is recommending Cassandra Oliver. She's the Chief Operations Officer for the KWA Group, LLC, to serve as an at-large member of SBAC, and she's present here today.
Would you like to speak?
Good morning. My name is Cassandra Oliver, and I thank you for your recommendation. I am looking forward to serving in any capacity possible. I am a small business owner in the county, and we take volunteerism very important in our community and in our company. So thank you for the opportunity to speak. Good day.
Thank you. So do we need, what do we need, a vote?
You need a vote. Motion, second vote.
I got a motion. I got a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
All righty, moving on. Other scheduled matters, general counsel, authority staff, comments by the board. Any comments by the board? Commissioner Woodward.
Is this when I need to make an appointment for my citizen advisory?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, Josie Markovic to fill my District 4 position.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'll send you the paperwork.
Absolutely, thanks.
Any other appointments? Okay, any other comments? With that, I see no more comments. We can adjourn this meeting, but I'm going to confirm that our next meeting date will be Wednesday, June 12th at 9:30 a.m. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming today.